good, everyone? Welcome to today's video. This is David here, and I know I've been gone for a couple months, but I've been gone because work's been keeping me preoccupied. It was a tough couple of months, but glad to be making a video today. Been able to watch some of the Broncos games, some of the other games I had to work, but glad I'm able to make a video today. The final score, the Broncos 16, the Raiders 15. So let's take a look at the game. First quarter, nothing exciting happened. The only thing that happened was the Raiders went down the field and went for a field goal, and they missed it. Second quarter came, the Raiders and Broncos go down the field and kick 2 field goals, making it 3-3. But then the Raiders go down the field, and on 4th and goal, Carr hands off to, I think, their fullback, Ingold, and he's stopped 1 yard shy, which was a great play. But if you look at it again, Ingold might have got in. He might have broken the plane, but didn't look like there was enough evidence to really overturn it. And that's why the play was upheld, but it kind of did look like he got in, but oh well. Then the Broncos go down the field, and Drew Lock throws a touchdown pass to Andrew Beck, who scores his first career touchdown catch, making it 10-3 Broncos. The former Texas Longhorns, Hook'em, horns up, is exactly who scored the touchdown, making it 10-3 Broncos. But then the third quarter came, the second half, and the Broncos just continued to roll. They kicked 2 field goals, making it 16-3, and the Raiders just could not get nothing going. But then they go down the field, kick a field goal to make it 16-6, and then the Broncos go down the field, are going down the field, driving Raider, kill the clock, and kick the game-winning field goal. But you know what happens? Royce Freeman fumbles, Raiders get the ball back. They go down the field, they kick a field goal, making it 16-9, and then they get the ball back one more time. They go down the field. Carr connects with Darren Waller, who's just an outstanding tight end, making it 16-15. Then they go for 2 points, and Shelby Harris deflects the pass, and Denver wins 16-15. To end their 2019 season off 7-9, and they improved to second place while Oakland falls to third. So it seems like since they both had the same division record, they both swept the Chargers, both split with each other, and both got swept by the Chiefs, so they look at common opponents. They had the same record against common opponents. Except Oakland beat Chicago, Denver lost to Chicago, Oakland beat Indianapolis, Denver lost to them. However, Denver beat Houston and Tennessee, and Oakland lost to Houston and Tennessee. And since Houston and Tennessee are both made the playoffs this year, you know what that meant? And Denver had a better strength of schedule, beat 2 playoff teams while Oakland lost to both of those. So that's what it seemed why Denver gets in second and Oakland goes to third place. Because their victory because of strength of schedule. So even though I'm glad we won, and we're going to wrap up the 2019 season off at 7-9, here was some things I liked about this season. But before I talk about this season, I have to say this. Out in Oakland and outside of Denver, they're going to remember this game for the bad calls that were made. If you ask me, Ingold, He got in the end zone. He got in the end zone. He scored the touchdown. He did. It did look like he got in. Renfro later on. Yeah, I think he got in as well. But all I have to say is this. All I have to say is this. It is what it is. Refs make bad calls a lot. I mean, they made bad calls against the Broncos too. But this year, like those Bears and Jaguars games, clearly those roughing the passer calls. But it is what it is. All we could do is move on with our lives. So the Broncos will end the year off 7-9. And now let's talk about Drew Lock, shall we? Drew Lock, in his 5 games as a starter in his rookie year, he's thrown for 1,020 passing yards, throws 7 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions, plus 4-1 as a starter. The stat that matters the most, his win-loss record. He is 4-1 as a starter. And all I have to say is, congratulations. He's looking good. Does it mean he's our franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. But does it mean he is something we have going forward? Absolutely. He is. Something we have going into next year. Something we could build around. Because like I say, the one thing we need to do this offseason is get some offensive linemen. We got to fill up our offensive line, put depth on it, because the jury's still out. You know, I think Ron Leary's more than likely going to walk. And plus, this year, he's got called a lot for holding penalties. And Garrett Bowles, the jury is still out on Garrett Bowles. The jury's still out on him, Garrett Bowles. Even though he has played better the last several weeks, that doesn't mean that come next year he's going to go back to his same old ways of holding calls. Terrible at pass protection, up and down in run blocking. That does not mean he is off the hook just yet. James, injury prone. He's a guy that, going forward, he's just a guy that I think is going to injure himself into retirement. And last but not least, Elijah Wilkerson. He's allowed the most sacks on our team this year. So our offensive line is something that we definitely got to look at. And our corners. More than likely, we're going to let Chris Harris walk. He just doesn't... I don't think he's just the same player no more. He's getting up there in age, and more than likely we'll move on from him. And I think we've got to get another corner. Because I don't know if we're going to bring Bryce Callahan back next year, but we definitely should not have a guy like Isaac Yiadom, who is... I mean, even though he did make some good plays yesterday, like that one Derek Carr pass that he deflected. Remember, week 1 versus Derek Carr, he allowed the most receptions. Isaac Yiadom. So, to be honest with you, definitely would look at replacing our corners. well. So the Broncos are going to get the 16th pick in the draft. And maybe we could look at a tackle or some corners. So that's all I have to say about that. So now let's take a look at the Broncos here. 7-9. We should be 11-5. The Chicago game, our defense just could not hold the Bears. They just could not stop the Bears on that final drive. And everyone wants to blame the whole Bradley Chubb hit on Mitchell Trubisky, which didn't look like it was roughing the passer, but the refs called it roughing the passer on 4th down. But you know what? It is what it is. The Jacksonville game, we had a 17-3 lead just before halftime. We're going down the field. Flacco gets intercepted. Changed momentum. 3rd quarter came. Our defense allowed the Jaguars big rushing plays. We failed to bring Gardner Minshew to the ground. And once again, final drive, just like the Chicago game, we allowed him to go down the field, kick the game-winning field goal. And then there was another roughing the passer hit on Gardner Minshew. That seemed controversial. The Colts game, Von Miller could miss the sack on Jacoby Brissett, which allowed the Colts to make a big pass down the field. And go down the field and kick a game-winning field goal. The Minnesota game, we had a 20-0 lead before halftime. Then Minnesota fumbles the ball on the kickoff. Denver gets the ball back, and Brandon Allen gets intercepted and changed momentum. And in the 4th quarter, well on top by 3, Brandon McManus misses the field goal. Minnesota goes down the field, scores the touchdown, and then Brandon Allen and the Broncos fail to score in the final drive and gives Minnesota the game. But then a lot of people said, oh, Minnesota got away with pass interference. I'm like, yeah, they did, but that ain't what's to blame for this loss. So Denver, quite frankly, should be 11-5 this year, but they shot themselves in the foot already 4 times this season. That cost us the game because we weren't going to beat Kansas City both times. Green Bay kind of had us where they were going to beat us. So did Oakland the first time. And so did the Bills. But you know what? We're 11-5. But we should be 11-5. We should have that number 5 seed. Well, Tennessee shouldn't even make the playoffs this year, but it is what it is. And I'm proud of this team. Why? Because number 1, we are not 2-14. We're not the 2-14 record that Adam Rank guy had us. But there was one thing he was right about our victories this season. The 2 games he predicted us to win, we won, but we won 5 more than that. So that's something to be proud of. I mean, and like I talk about Drew Lock, in his rookie year, 5 career starts, 1,020 passing yards, 7 TDs, 3 interceptions. That is better, much better than any quarterback we've had after Manning. Because look at the quarterbacks we've had after Manning. Brock Osweiler, who we thought was going to be the future. Some people thought he was the future. Other people said, we'll probably never see him play because Manning's going to take all the time he wants. He clearly was too scared. He played scared. Trevor Siemian lacked toughness. He could play, but he lacked toughness. Paxton Lynch could not play in the NFL. He was just outright atrocious. Paxton Lynch, and then Case Keenum, one-hit wonder in Minnesota. Joe Flacco, who was quite frankly done. Brandon Allen, who lacks arm strength. And now we got Drew Lock. We got Drew Lock, who I think could be could do something in this league. And it's funny, for the 2nd consecutive year, Joe Flacco now sees his starting job lost to be a rookie. A rookie. And look at how much better Baltimore is without him. Baltimore is now Super Bowl contenders. Now that they traded away Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, like I said, he was done. He just came to fill in until Drew Lock was ready. A lot of people say, why didn't Drew Lock start at the beginning of the year? Well, number one, he was on IR, and number two, he was not ready to come out and play yet. So, that's that. So, I'm glad for the win today, and more news going out. The Giants fire head coach Pat Shurmur, who was a lot like Vance Joseph, kept the Saints. We had a good week of practice. We got to fix it, but never would. The Redskins fired their general manager, Bruce Allen, who clearly has underperformed as general manager. And the Browns fired Freddie Kitchens. And the Browns were a team that were just too overhyped in the offseason. And quite frankly, I just don't think Baker Mayfield has got what it takes to play in the NFL. I mean, he's got the talent, he's got the skills, but his just attitude. He's very cocky. He's immature. Still acts like he's in college, and quite frankly, he's not. Even the way he addresses the media when they ask him questions always comes up with a very almost insulting remark. A lot of people said his attitude is probably not going to make it in this league. So, what the Browns should have did was they got some great defensive players, and they got Nick Chubb. So the playoff picture, those are the only 3 firings, but more are to come. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys are going to finally fire Jason Garrett. So let us take a look at the playoff picture in the AFC. Number 1 seed is the Ravens. Chiefs are number 2. The Patriots are number 3. The Texans are number 4. The Bills and Titans are the final 2 seeds. And the Patriots lost to the Dolphins in the last minute as Fitzmagic threw the game-winning touchdown pass to give them a 27-24 win. And Patriots fall to the number 2 seed. A lot of people say maybe Brady's done, Patriots are done, and they might be. Maybe Belichick's ready to move on from Brady's, but those are the top 6. The AFC, the NFC is the 49ers, who had that great game against the Seahawks last night. I really like that goal line stand by the Niners when they stopped the Seahawks from scoring 1 yard shy from winning the game. That was great right there by the Niners. And something about the Seahawks and goal line stands where they just struggle. The Packers are the number 2. Saints are number 3. Number 4 are the Eagles. 5 are the Seahawks. And 6 are the Seahawks are 5, and 6 are the Vikings. So it's going to be so in the playoffs, both days are going to be a conference day. So both AFC games are going to be played on Saturday, and both NFC games are going to be played Sunday. Saturday, you've got the Titans and the Patriots. I hate to do it, but I go for the Patriots. They're going to win. I got the Texans beating the Bills, and Sunday I got the Eagles beating the Seahawks at home because Carson Wentz has been playing good and playing like an MVP. I mean, not MVP, but like a clutch quarterback, excuse me. And I got the Saints beating the Vikings. So let me know what you think about the playoffs. Let me know what you think about how the Broncos played this year. And again, this is David, and I'm out. Peace.